Hello, we're back to another and final how to answer an AQA GCSE history exam question. Today we'll be looking at the essay one. I'll say essay quite loosely, it's 16 marks, but 4 marks for spelling, punctuation, grammar, so it's 20 marks in total. We'll be looking specifically on the medicine through time course on this one, and the question entails, has the role of individual been the main factor in development and treatment of disease in Britain? Explain your answer with also referencing other factors. So individuals being the key word there. Now, first we need to course go through structure. So 16 plus 4, so this is your essay one. You can spend between 20 to 25 minutes on this question. You need a conclusion, P1, P2, P3, and conclusion. By conclusion, start off with, introduction. So yeah, your introduction, 3 paragraphs and conclusion. That is the structure for this question. And of course, spelling matters. Spelling and punctuation, it does matter in this one. So just make sure you spell those individuals' names right. And generally just make sure that's on your consciousness, hence why it needs that clear structure. Now, on the 20, now for medicine, always, if you're doing AQA like I am, for medicine, you'll always be asked at the end of the 60 marker. This one, it does, of course, individual. But you could also have war, government, chance, science, religion, and I think there is one more I am forgetting, technology. You can be asked about any one of those things in this question. So, however, of course, it does say another factor. So let's first think about individuals. So to actually answer the question in many respects, individuals. Well, when we think about individuals, which is a big individuals? That's why I think the question is so inviting, the 60 mark on a medicine paper, because if you know 1 or 2 individuals, you can easily pick up, get into level 3, level 4 here, because it's, like I said, the question is so welcome and there's so much to talk about. So big people to talk about. We could talk about individuals. I'm thinking about Jon Snow. Jon Snow, cholera epidemic. Now, again, short term, long term. So let's do short term. Well, proved my asthma was wrong. Proved my asthma wrong. Long term, Public Health Act. Prompted the government to do the Public Health Act in 1875, providing not only clean water, but proper sewage system in London. So there's Jon Snow. You could also talk about Edward Jenner. Edward Jenner. Vaccinations. You get the idea. So yeah, there's some individuals to talk about. Of course, you can't just talk about individuals. You would also have to talk about some other factors, which would probably be in your 3rd paragraph, your sort of secondary point. So, for example, we talk about war. When we think about war, we've got, I'm thinking about one specifically, you've got Parry, who at 1537 in Piedmont, the Battle of Piedmont. He ran out of hot oil to cauterize the wounds, and instead had to rely on egg white, turpentine, and the rose oil. That is terrible spelling. Not spelling, handwriting. And rose oil, however, like I said, again, you could talk about, even you could, but in your 3rd paragraph, short term, long term, don't probably have to, but it's always best to really, if you want to hit those highlight. Short term, well, less painful, what's the word? Treatment, that's the one. And in the long term, less painful surgeries. and higher success rate, Because of course people weren't just dying from their wounds spilling out everywhere. So there's just some of the things we could talk about when we're answering the 16-mark question. Now I've actually also got my teacher to mark this one so we can have a look at where I can also improve on myself. But let's just have a look at the gist of the question and what you should probably put if you want to hit those higher bands of questions. Not that my answer is perfect, but it really isn't. I've done this a while ago now. So there we are. So the role of individuals has definitely been the main factor that has developed the treatment and have lived this section of Britain, as it helps constantly stood out from other factors. So that's a good clear introduction and main line of argument. And we're referring back to that, such as significant individual of John Snow, which I just mentioned, who helped cure and find the reason for the outbreak of the cholera during the mid-19th century. It's important to remember that during the time period, the government took a laissez-faire approach, again using those key words, to tackle with disease in Britain. So individuals like John Snow to do almost all the work to try and find a treatment to cholera. He wanted to identify a leaking cesspit infecting contaminating a water pump was the reason people were falling ill. Furthermore, John Snow at the individual not only helped treat cholera in the short term, but he found what was causing it, but in the long term, again short term, long term there, he proved that miasma theory was incorrect. This was achieved by him observing a maid who lived a few streets from the water pump in Broad Street fell ill because she had been getting water from that pump. This greatly made the miasma theory incorrect, and not bad air carried the disease in the long term, helping save more people's lives. And then our third paragraph, the other factor, although it could be argued that government has been the main factor in the treatment of disease, since the 19th century the starting implementing laws and reforms and tried to improve people's public health, such as in 1875 the Public Health Act, which stated that government must provide everyone with clean water and also keep the streets clean, which did have the long-term effect of helping stop the spread of disease since streets were cleaner. Furthermore, they built London on sewage systems fully functioning by the 1880s, also improving public hygiene. However, of course, that was spelt wrong. However, it's important to remember, so lost a bit of spag marks there, although I did still get 4 out of 4 anyway. However, it's important to remember most of this was done by individuals such as Edwin Chadwick. So in our conclusion, overall the work of individual has been the main factor in development and treatment of disease, since it was individual work that helped find new medical discoveries and ideas, like Edward Jenner, who discovered someone called smallpox. However, I did not mention Edward Jenner in the source, which is why I probably lost a few marks there, because I'm just referencing something I haven't mentioned before. In your conclusion, sum up what you said. Don't do what I did there and reference something else, because you now have to explain that, which you don't have time in the exam, and you also break the structure. 19th century, it took a laissez-faire approach style of carrying out, so overall the government did nothing while individuals did all the work. So for this one, I got 14 out of 20. I got 4 out of 4 on bag, but 10 out of 16 on content. So I only got 14 out of 20. However, that is a level 3 answer. To improve, as my teacher said here, a better paragraph structure and, again, description at the conclusion. Of course, I mentioned Edward Jenner there, even though I shouldn't have. Personally, I think definitely to improve, that's all about. We could have definitely had the introduction, paragraph 1 of fine. Paragraph 2 probably could have also mentioned like Edwin Jenner, though, rather than just a little bit at the end. And for government, I would think about maybe more recently NHS, is that's more significant. But overall that is the end of the video. I hope you found this video useful to structure your 20 markers for the medicine paper in AQA GCSE history. So thank you so much for watching. See you in my next YouTube video. Goodbye.